to just do the needful.
So, Hare Krishna, please accept my humble obeisances, all of you. And thank you for giving me this wonderful opportunity to introduce two great devotees who have been a great inspiration personally for me. And, as we say, ideal woman, I would say, in this scenario. So I would like to introduce Ujjvala Radhe Mataji, uh, which is her spiritual name, and her material name is Uma Pallavi Potu. So for those who do not know, this is a very short introduction. Actually, there's much more. I mean, I was just going through, and there's a lot, many things that we can actually tell. But basically, because most of you all are new, I would give her backdrop. So she comes from a traditional South Indian family in Andhra Pradesh. She joined this Hare Krishna movement in the year 2005 while she was doing her internship in Osmania Medical College and Hospital, Hyderabad. And ever since, she has been very active in youth preaching, and she had been conducting many systematic courses and training for young girls all over India and overseas. And she has even conducted many teachers training program. She is a dentist by profession, and she's a German linguist and a psychologist. She brings her variegated academic experience into teaching the Shastras as well, and she tries to make the scriptures very relevant to the current generation. She is an author, and her book, which is The Woman Who Rebuilt, it's an authentic biography of Draupadi, which is due for release this month. So we all are eagerly waiting for that, Mataji. This is a surprise for me as well. That's a wonderful thing. And then she has done a lot of research on mantra meditation at AIMS, Rishikesh, and she's currently pursuing her PhD in Indian knowledge systems and mental health applications in IIT Mandi. So she currently offers Vedic courses at IITs, BITS, and other educational institutions. As a Bhakti Shastri teacher, she is also conducting regular weekly sessions on core philosophy. She has a YouTube channel. For those who want to listen to her previous sessions, you all can, log in and check out her previous sessions, which are really wonderful. I always go and, hear and use that philosophy in taking my classes. So she has the girls' voice of the Satellite Center of ISKCON Hyderabad. She and her good husband, His Grace Sudama Gopal Prabhu, they serve as official counselors at ISKCON, and they have a 7-year-old good daughter whom she really takes care of in a very beautiful way. So we all are very fortunate, Mataji, that you are here. And then Champaka Lata Mataji, actually, I could just, when I was asked to introduce, one thing that I could really remember was the Bhagavad Gita shloka, Yad Yad Acharati Shreshtas, Tat Tat Eva Taro Jana, Sayat Pramanam Kurute, Lokas Tat Anuvartate, which says that whatever action a great man performs, common men follow. And whatever standards they set by their exemplary act, all the world pursues. So when I see these two very powerful preachers of ISKCON, I really feel they are really setting a very high example for all of us to follow. And we should all follow such leaders personally in our lives. So Champaka Lata Mataji, she was also born in Andhra Pradesh and brought up in Hyderabad. She came in contact with ISKCON in 2002. She's a postgraduate in computer science from Maharshi Dayanand University, Haryana. And she worked as a business consultant to few project management institutes in Delhi till 2012. And she's an avid reader, and her love for reading books culminated in a taste for philosophy and her love for Srimad Bhagavatam. She was actively involved for the last 10 years in life transformation programs for the visually disabled. So she has been taking care of visually blind students from Devanar school, and personally taking care of them and transforming their life in a very spiritual way, personally cooking prasadam for them and giving them the love which most of them they do not get in a normal stream of life. She also preaches Srimad Bhagavatam online to a group of ladies in USA and Bharat. She's a pioneer in making Bhagavad Gita in Braille, which was recently accomplished by her team, which was released at ISKCON Juhu on 15 January 2023, which is actually history. Till now, there has been no Bhagavad Gita in Braille, and she was so compassionate enough to give Braille Bhagavad Gita to all these visually blind students all over the world, actually. Another thing, this entire session has been organized and hosted for the relatives and friends of His Grace Anandmay Prabhu, Her Grace Vrajabhumi Devi Dasi, who are parents of Champaka Lata Mataji, and her brother, Dr. Venugopal Prabhu, who is the brother, and Shama Sundar Prabhu, who is also brother of Champaka Lata Mataji, His Grace Hari Seva Devi Dasi, and Aparna, both who are sister-in-law of Champaklata Mataji. Then Wing Commander T. Vivek, who is Mataji's husband, Vishwak, Shravani, and Advait, who are Mataji's children. So this is specially meant for the next generation to understand the importance and significance of our culture, our festival, our gods and goddesses. Because nowadays it has become, we all are living a very mechanical life where, we get everything at the click of the button. And, this artificial intelligence has really taken mainstream, and, everyone has become so dependent on all this technology. To that extent that this generation has no clue about the real aim of life. Just now we were having a session and I saw that most of the girls, when I asked them what is the kind of emotion that they are going through right now in their life, most of the answers were stressed, confused, and depressed. That is the kind of emotion that most of the people are actually going through. So because we are confused, we are at the crossroad of our lives where we don't know what we really want in life. So this is a very small endeavor that we understand that festivals are not just for partying, for enjoying. It's not a fashion parade. We see that Navratri and Dandiya has become more about that. So we understand that festivals are more meaningful than this. It's not just about travel. It's not just about movies and all these things. So we understand that spirituality and our culture is much more than that. So this is a small endeavor where we try to impart you little knowledge about our rich heritage and scriptures, so that our life can be much better, much more healthier, much more happier, and more fulfilling. So thank you so much for taking this initiative, and I'm sure many people would benefit from this. And I wish and pray that this meets success and we get to see many more sessions like that. Thank you very much, Srila Prabhupada. So over to you, Champaklata Mataji.
Thank you so much, Namrata Mataji. I mean, if I start introducing and talking about her achievements and successes, it'll run to many pages. She is actually a girl's voice preacher in ISKCON Abbott's Temple, and she's training, scores of young girls in the Shastras, and also taking care of them, their psychological and physical needs and their spiritual needs. So she's a wonderful preacher, and I'm really glad to have you as my friend, Mataji. Thank you so much.
I was just thinking that perfect question, perfect answer is the right heading right now for this session. Actually, such a perfect person to be asking right kind of questions and such a perfect person to be answering them. So I'm just waiting for the fireworks to come in and transform all our lives. So thank you.
There's already formidable number of people who have joined the call. So without much ado, let's just begin. And as we all have just heard from Namrata Mataji about Her Grace Ujjvala Radhe Mataji, there's so much to say. And she's a dentist, German linguist, counselor to many, and she's a sweet mother of a 7-year-old child. So let's begin with a small prayer, and I'll just say a few words and hand over to Her Grace Ujjvala Radhe Mataji. Om Agnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. I hope we are audible to all of you. So let's begin. Today we are talking about Goddess Durga. Goddess Durga is an embodiment of strength, courage, compassion, and love. So, behind her ferocious form is a loving mother who is actually beckoning us to eradicate the anarthas in the heart, which are tiny asuras, not tiny, actually, huge asuras, at least in my case, in the form of lust, anger, greed, illusion, pride, and envy. She is actually seated on a lion with various weapons in her arms and devouring the asuras with her trident. So, and she's also known by various names like Kali, Chandi, Lalita, Parvati, Shakti. And today, let's try and understand about the worship of Durga Devi. There are various things about her in the Bhagavad Gita and various Shastras. So, Her Grace Ujjvala Radhe Mataji, true to her name, her brilliance and lust that comes from her Bhakti Shakti. And she's immensely knowledgeable about the Shastra, and she can enlighten us today with knowledge from the Shastra on how to worship Goddess Durga. And is there more than that, beyond that, on how to worship the Supreme Lord? So she'll enlighten us. And my first question to her would be, who is Goddess Durga? Mataji, over to you. Thank you. We cannot hear you, Mataji.
Yeah. Hare Krishna. Is the audibility okay?
Yes, perfect, Mataji.
Yeah. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. So I'd like to thank Namrata Mataji for the generous introduction. So it's really, super humility on your side and the side of even Champaka Lata Mataji that you have put me in this position. Actually, I would like to switch positions and be the person to ask questions and seek the valuable answers from Champaka Lata Mataji, because she herself is so knowledgeable and so scholarly that somehow it's her sweetness, that she put me in this position. So I just pray that for the pleasure of all the devotees and my beloved God sisters and our Prabhupada's family, that I speak in a way that will please your heart and that you will go back feeling more connected to the Shakti Tattva around us, which is so important in our own personal sadhana and development. So with these humble prayers, I would like to begin. So as currently we are in the, we have begun the Navaratri festival, right? It is celebrated for 9 days. So these Navaratri festivals are like actually celebrated twice a year, once in the summer and once during this season. One is called the Chaitra Navaratri. The other is the Sharadiya Navaratri. So right now the Navaratri festival, which is generally celebrated more famously all over India, is the Sharadiya Navaratri, the 9 days festival, which ends with Dusshera. It marks the day of, Lord Ramachandra's victory. Yeah, the 10th day marks the victory of Lord Ramachandra, also called the Ramachandra Vijayotsava. Yeah, so this is the Sharadiya Navaratri. Then the Navaratri that is also celebrated during summer, called the Chaitra Navaratri. It ends with on the 9th day on the Sri Ramanavami, that is the birth of Lord Ramachandra. So these are the two Navaratri festivals that are celebrated famously in India. And basically it's a festival celebrating Goddess Durga and her mercy. So Shakti Tattva is predominant all over India, right from, the north up to the south. Like, for example, Kanyakumari. Who is Kanyakumari? Kanyakumari is one of the avatars of, Goddess Durga herself. Yeah. Then, who is celebrated as in the Cape Comorin, famously called. And Kali, who whom we worship in Kolkata. Yeah, even Mumbai is named after Mumba Devi. Yeah, and we also we're familiar with this, the tattva of Goddess Durga in our own, the villages that we are born. For example, I'm born in a village in West Godavari district called Bhimavaram. So there, the goddess, the Grama Devi, the Grama Devi whom we used to worship is Maulamma. Yeah. So every village also has her own, their own goddess. Yeah. An expansion of Durga, or, who is named after, the particular deity. Yeah. So the Grama Devi whom we worship is Goddess Durga herself. So as Mataji has asked, who is Goddess Durga? So let us refer back to scriptures that who she is, what is her tattva. Yeah. So the Brahma Samhita speaks about her nature and her function. Yeah. Srishti Sthiti Pralaya Sadhana Shakti Reka Chayeva Yasya Bhavana. Could you all please be on mute?
Hare Krishna.
Yeah. Yeah. So Srishti Sthiti Pralaya Sadhana Shakti Reka Chayeva Yasya Bhuvanani Vibharti Durga. Yeah. Ichhanurupam Chacheshtate Sa Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. So who is Goddess Durga? Who carries out Srishti Sthiti Pralaya. Srishti, the creation. Sthiti, maintenance. Pralaya, destruction. Yeah. Sadhana Shakti Reka. Yeah. She is the Shakti behind bringing about these transformations in material creation. Yeah. Chayeva Yasya Bhuvanani Bibharti Durga. That is how in this material realm, she is addressed and glorified as Goddess Durga. Then Ichhanurupam, this is the most important word in this whole shloka. Ichhanurupam. So how is she doing this? Goddess Durga is doing by the desire of the Supreme Lord Krishna. Yeah. By the desire of the Supreme Lord Krishna, who is Govinda. Yeah. Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. Yeah. By the desire of the Supreme Lord Govinda, she is conducting herself. Cheshta. Cheshta means to conduct herself. She's conducting herself and she is performing these duties of Srishti Sthiti Pralaya. So let's start from where we are. So where are we right now? So we are all here situated in the Dhama of this Devi. Yeah. There are 3 Dhamas. Yeah. There is the Devi Dhama, there is Mahesha Dhama, and there is Hari Dhama. So right now where we are all situated, this material realm of these 14 worlds, the 14 planetary systems. Yeah. The Bhuloka, Bhuvarloka, Swargaloka, Janaloka, Tapaloka, Mahaloka, and the Satyaloka up, and the 8 other 7 planetary systems below. These 14 planetary systems together comprise of this Devi Dhama. Devi Dhama is the abode of Devi, Goddess Durga. Then above that is Mahesha Dhama, the abode of Lord Shiva, and above that is the Hari Dhama. So if this Devi Dhama, the purpose of this creation is, just like, I don't know, it might sound not so good, but it's like a prison house, which is meant for the rectification of the rebellious souls. So this Devi Dhama, or the material world, it's called the Ekapada Vibhuti. It is the 1/4 of the whole creation. And beyond this is the Tripada Vibhuti, which is the 3/4 called the spiritual world. So, the service of Goddess Durga, it's multifold. Actually, Shakti Tattva manifests in different forms. It's very variegated. Starting from, it depends upon our attitude of how we approach her. Yeah. So if we are approaching Shakti in the right attitude, the same goddess actually connects us back to our origin and can bring us our perfection. But if we approach the same Shakti as, with an exploitative attitude, so the same Shakti takes the form of Durga and she tramples upon us, with what does she carry? What is a weapon that Goddess Durga carries? A Trishul. What does the Trishul signify? Yeah, the Trishul signifies the Tapatraya. What is the Tapatraya? The three kleshas, Adhyatmika, Adibhautika, Adidaivika. These are three different kleshas because of which Goddess Durga is just putting us down, bound to this material nature. But this is for those who are approaching her with an exploitative attitude. But for those who have the attitude of devotion, she can actually, be the means. Like, I will just explain this with two examples. Like Rukmini Devi, when she wanted to marry Lord Krishna, yeah, she's herself Shakti Tattva, but she is an ardent worshipper of Parvati. Yeah, that is why Lord Krishna comes all the way and picks her up from the temple of Amba Devi, yeah, whom she ardently worshipped all her life. Yeah, so Sakshat Rukmini Devi, when she wanted to unite with the Shaktiman Lord Krishna, she took shelter of, Devi. And also this whole concept of Grama Devi, our Srimati Radharani, when she's in, she took birth in Raval. In Raval, she used to worship Shitala Devi. Shitala Devi is the Gram Devi of Raval. It's a beautiful temple over there. So in this way, it is when this form of Durga is worshipped with the right attitude, she unites the living entity with the Parama Purusha. But the same Durga, when is approached with an exploitative attitude, she tramples and she punishes, or rather rectifies. So this is the tattva which, in brief, I thought I would just share.
Thank you so much, Mataji, for answering the first question, where you have explained very beautifully that Durga Devi is the superintendent of the citadel called Durg. It is like a material prison for the souls who have to transform themselves. So she's nudging us to move closer to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Very beautifully explained, Mataji. And the second question is, who are these 9 forms of Durga? Because during Navaratras, we see many people worshipping one form of Durga Devi each day. So what is their position, and could you please explain?
Yeah, so during this Navaratras, the goddess Durga is worshipped in different forms. That is like the way she has manifested. So I will just briefly go through these Navadurgas and what they signify. Yeah, so actually in the Bhagavatam, there's a beautiful description of the whole pastime of, goddess Sati, and how she has performed the self-immolation. Yeah. So basically, yeah, that's the first form. The first form, like during the Navaratras, first manifestation who is worshipped is Shailaputri. Yeah, Shailaputri is she is the daughter of, Shaila is the mountain. So she's a daughter of the mountain. So as a daughter of the mountain, in her previous life, she was Sati. So Sati was the daughter of Daksha. So as the daughter of Daksha, she went against her father and she married Lord Shiva. So her father was against marrying Lord Shiva because Lord Shiva was not very sophisticated. No, so he didn't agree for the marriage. So much against the will of her father, she got married to Lord Shiva. And when Daksha was performing a great yajna, and I'm sure most of you have seen as children, the Daksha Mahayajna, somehow he did not invite Lord Shiva. And Shiva also advised directly and indirectly Sati to not go for this particular get-together. Yeah. So, but Sati, nonetheless, she said, I'm a daughter, so I don't need an invitation and I cannot hold myself back. All my cousins and everybody is going, so I need to go.
Are we ready? Request everyone to mute yourself. Yeah.
So that's how Sati goes, despite the advice of Lord Shiva. And there, when she reaches there, Daksha actually kind of speaks very insulting words. So Sati, being very taken aback, feeling very hurt, is this the way you hurl daggers at my own husband? And I cannot handle this. And I do not even want this body that you have given me. So, she ignites a yogic fire within herself, and she ends the body that has been given to her by her father. So this was Sati in her past life. So interestingly, it was during that phase when, in her next birth, she takes her birth as Parvati, or, the daughter of the mountain, that is Shaila Putri. So what happens in her next birth? So that is, the second day, she's worshipped as Brahmacharini. So why is she called Brahmacharini? Again, this particular form manifests as, that mood in which she was performing austerities. So why was she performing austerities? So interestingly, when Lord Shiva was, in separation from Sati, Sati has left her, her body, and she was in the separation. So that was when a demon, named Tarakasura, he got a benediction saying that I will meet with death only with the son of Lord Shiva. So at that time, Lord Shiva did not have a wife, and he was in a mood of total detachment. So the whole universe got to know about this fact, and this Tarakasura started creating a big fuss, big havoc in all the worlds. So silently, then when they went to Vishnu, he prompted that, so Parvati can be the next wife. So that's when Narada Muni goes to Parvati when she was still a young child. I mean, she was just growing up. And he tells her that, oh dear Parvati, in your previous life, Lord Shiva was your husband. Now you attain him again as your husband by performing austerities. So that's when she actually performs very severe austerities for very, very, very long time. She's become so emaciated, in the tapogni, the heat created by her tapobala. So that is why, the second manifestation who we worship on the second day is Brahmacharini, and she appears with, the beads in her right hand and a kamandalu in her left hand, representing austerity. And tapa. Tapa. So the Lord Shiva, being pleased with her tapa, he answers her prayers. So there's her third manifestation is Chandraganta. So Chandraganta is like, the one with the crescent-shaped moon as an ornament. So when Lord Shiva, being pleased with her austerity and tapa, he agrees to marry her. And so he actually walks in to her place to marry. But Lord Shiva walks in with his original form. That is, the body covered with ashes, with his neck, ornamented with the snake, and, with his matted locks of hair, and with all his, who attended him are like all the hobgoblins, the ghosts, and, so, I mean, he didn't change at all. He didn't believe in it. So he walked in this way, and everybody was like flabbergasted. Is he the groom? So they all were shocked. So then Parvati had to do something, and she immediately manifested her form as a deadly form, a gory form, which can be like they say a perfect match. So she also manifested 10 hands and a violent form. So and then that form is Chandraganta, a ferocious form, basically, 10 hands with weapons in the hands. So, and at that time, then after that, Lord Shiva is even more pleased. And then she requests him to, accept her in marriage by transforming himself into a handsome prince. And he does, and the marriage happens. So that's how these first three manifestations of Goddess Durga, the first 3 days of Navaratri, are celebrated. Then the fourth form is the Kushmanda. Kushmanda is like she's the origin of Anda. Anda is like the origin of the creation. She's the creation aspect of the universe. And the fifth form that she takes up is as Skanda Mata. Skanda is Kartikeya. Yeah, Kartikeya is like, going back to the story, Tarakasura has requested that, he got the boon that only the son of Lord Shiva is going to kill me. So now that Shiva is married to Parvati, their union brings about a discharge of energy that has been protected and nurtured by Parvati, under an ocean. And there are 6 mothers who are in charge of protecting that energy, and they're called Krittikas. Yeah. The 6 mothers are called Krittikas. And so the son born from them is called Kartikeya. Yeah, or also called Skanda. Also famously called Kumaraswamy. Yeah, it's famously worshipped in Tamil Nadu. Yeah. So he is very, very powerful. And so he goes and kills Tarakasura. And then the next manifestation is Katyayani. Katyayani is again a very ferocious form of Goddess Durga. She's the most ferocious of all of them. And she's famously the killer of the demon Mahishasura, whom we sing, right? Jaya Jaya He Mahishasura Mardini Ramya Kapadini Shalish. So she's she's Katyayani, who's the killer of Mahishasura. And she is also the same goddess who is worshipped by all the gopis, of Gokula, to attain Lord Krishna as their husband. And she is again the same manifestation who is worshipped in Kanyakumari, as Kanyakumari, the goddess of virginity. So, and the 7th is when she is worshipped as the Kalaratri. Yeah, she's like, the most very, very ferocious form who kills, many demons. Like there are Shumbha and, there are 2 demons who manifest 2 more demons called Chanda and Munda. So a goddess named Chamundi comes through this Kalaratri, and this Chamundi actually kills Chanda and Munda. So after that, these 2 demons send another very deadly demon to kill Kali. Yeah. And the name of this demon is, Rakta Bija. So this Rakta Bija had this, this benediction that whoever is trying to kill him, whenever a drop of blood, falls on the ground, from that blood, a new Rakta Bija comes. So this is like, very deadly benediction. So the whole world was terrified. Who can put an end to this guy's atrocities? If you want to try to harm him, with every drop of blood that is, dripping out of him, another demon is going to come. Yeah. So the whole world was in chaos. So that's when, Kali comes, and she takes up a very, very ferocious form, and, with a long, that's why, some of the deities of Mother Kali, you see her tongue actually hanging out. Yeah, very large tongue. So she kills him while, actually sipping out the blood that was coming out of him. So in that way, in a very ferocious fight, she actually terminates this demon, Rakta Bij. It was such a ferocious fight that, her power was lauded and glorified by Lord Vishnu, Maheshwara, and Brahma. It was a very, very, a very popular fight. Yeah, indeed. So that was Kalaratri. Yeah. So also called as Kali or Chamundi. So then after that was on the 8th day. Yeah, 8th day, she's celebrated as Mahagauri. So it is said that like as Kali, when she killed these demons, she's literally become very dark in her complexion. So at that time, she appeals to Lord Brahma to rid her of this darkish complexion. So then he tells her, take a bath in the Mansarovar. And she takes a bath in Mansarovar, and she regains her beautiful complexion. Gauri, it's a fair complexioned one. So that is the Mahagauri. And on the 9th day, she's celebrated as Siddhidatri. Siddhidatri is one who actually gives the benediction of Siddhis. You see, like many people are after a lot of Siddhis. There are Ashta Siddhis. But Siddhidatri is somebody who can bestow more than that she can bestow 18 Siddhis. So she is celebrated on this 9th day. So what is important is like what I have spoken just now is about the different manifestations of Parvati. So the essence of all this is that she's in charge of, as Champaka Lata Mataji so wonderfully introduced the topic, yeah, to demolish the miscreants. Yeah. So there is Purusha and there is Purusha Niyama. Purusha is the Supreme Lord, and Niyamas are the laws of God. And those who are going against these laws, yeah, or disobeying these laws. So it's the duty of the mother or the superintendent, as Mataji has said, yeah, superintendent to correct. Just like, our government has a department, has 3 departments, there is the Department of Defense, Education, Finance. So in the universal government, these 3 departments, powerful departments, are handled by women. Yeah. The Department of Education is handled by Goddess Saraswati. Department of Finance, Goddess Lakshmi. The Department of Defense by Goddess Durga. So in olden days, people often say that, women of the past are always suppressed, or Vedic women are not given rights. But if anybody says that, please quote this example. All the top departments in the universal governance are taken care of by women. Yeah, so much of power is invested and given to them. So this is in short about the Navadurgas and their worship that is traditionally carried out. I hope it's okay.
Yeah, so beautifully explained about how, if there are any women who are, fighting for women's empowerment, a lot of wisdom nuggets there for them, Mataji. Thank you so much. And very nicely explained about the Navadurgas. My next question would be about the Puranas. Like, we have the 18 Puranas in our Vedas, and each Purana talks about one particular god or goddess. Devi Puran talks about Durga Devi, worship of Durga, I mean to say. Shiva Puran and Vishnu Puran talk about worship of Lord Shiva and Lord Vishnu. So, as Sanatanites, how do we understand whom to worship? Because there's a huge question mark. We have, these 33 crore devatas according to the Shastras. So, and it's very confusing. And especially when it comes to the younger generation, they give us a huge argument saying that, our Shastras are talking about so many gods and goddesses. Ye mere pas ki baat nahi hai. So you do what you have to do. I mean, this is something very difficult for me. So how do we make things simpler for not only the younger generation, but also those who have not yet taken to the path of bhakti in fear of, being unable to worship so many gods and goddesses?
Hare Krishna. You have echoed the hearts of many confused souls. Thank you, Mataji, for bringing up that question. Yeah, so let's start from what we are already practicing. So actually, currently, how do we observe Durga Puja? I mean, I'm not talking about the Dandiya, etc., or the Garba dance, but traditionally, what do we generally do during Durga Puja? So we do Vahana Puja. Yeah, we worship, we offer worship, or we do some puja to the vehicles. We buy new vehicles or we worship them. Put some tilak or So this is what traditionally people do: Vahana Puja, or in some houses they buy anything new, some electronic gadgets. I know that my mother-in-law, if she buys they buy a washing machine. They put a tika to that and all that. Yeah. So I mean, apparently, maybe for the scientific minded people, they're like, what are you doing? Why are you putting a tilak to a screen or to a to an instrument? But actually, these gestures carry a lot of deeper meaning. Or because what is all these instruments, etc. Yeah, why there is a sense of worship? It is being sensitive to the external energy. So these instruments, so-called washing machine or the vehicles that you're worshiping, in some houses, they even worship the utensils, during the Dusshera. They take out all the vessels, sometimes the big vessels, different sizes of vessels, which is for some for daily use, some for special occasions. There are all vessels, yeah, in the kitchen. So all these are brought out, they are nicely washed, and they're also worshipped in some cultures. as a part of Dusshera, the Navaratri pujas. So it is apparently it might look strange for a scientific minded person, but it has a deeper significance in it, that we are showing sensitivity and respect to what we are seeing as the external energy of the Lord. When we show that sense of respect, be it even to the external energy of the Lord, then we are overcoming an exploitative tendency within us. So if you see within this world, when we look around the world, so all the problems that are occurring, be it the natural disasters or the mismanagement, the artificial famines, the corruption, the root of all this is the greed within the heart of the miscreants, or the exploitative tendency or the exploitative mentality of the people. So when we are following this, which is coming naturally as a part of culture, we are overcoming this exploitative tendency. We are acknowledging, oh, this is worshipable because this is the external energy of the Lord. She's a manifestation of Goddess Durga herself. And one step, that's at least the first step. We are having a sense of respect and not sense of exploitation. That's step number one. And step number two, higher than that, is if you can see it in connection to the Lord. Yes, this is the external energy, the separated energy. The Bahirangika Shakti of the Supreme Lord. And, beyond this is that the Antarangika Shakti. And, this is meant for the service of the Lord. If we can see in that way, Yukta Vairagya, that's the principle. So all the practices that are there in our culture have very deep significance. If we can try to actually get into the root of it, we actually reach the source. So that sensitivity and that inquisitiveness within the younger generation should be answered. Why do somebody turn off by calling something as sentimentality when we are unable to give a proper explanation to the ritual behind? So if supposing we're just putting these tikas and somebody comes and asks me, why are you doing that? If I don't have an answer, that's when they're turned off. But if I can explain this, that yes, this is the external energy of the Lord, and through this, I'm able to get this service. And through this, I'm able to do my service to the Lord. So it is worshipable to me. So in this way, whenever I approach it with a sense of respect. So this kind of a mood, will, if we can explain this, the younger generation, they can definitely understand, and, they appreciate it also. And they even follow it. And I've seen that when they're convinced, not just they appreciate it, but they actually pass on, they preach to their friends. When the friends come and they're doing something wrong, I say, hey, don't you know this? This is like this. You have to follow it. This tradition is important. I've seen my own nieces, actually telling their friends because they're convinced. So, and in Sanatan Dharma, it's intrinsic that you respect, for example, every morning as Vaishnavas, when you wake up, what's the first thing we do? We offer obeisances to Bhumi Devi. So Bhumi Devi, why do we offer obeisances? Just, I'm trampling upon you the whole day, so I beg forgiveness. So please allow me to walk upon you. And even night before we sleep, we again offer obeisances to Bhumi Devi, saying that the whole day I've been walking upon you. So this is sensitivity, the sensitivity to our surroundings, and that connection when we are able to get. That's very important. That's much needed. So one thing is to get that connection. And as you have asked, like different Puranas speak about worshipping different gods and goddesses. So there are two extremes of this worship. One extreme is only wanting Shakti, no Shaktiman. This is Ravana mentality. Ravana wanted all the resources. I mean, he wanted Sita for himself. And he did not want Ram. And this is also the Duryodhana mentality. He was offered by Krishna, Duryodhana and Arjuna, they were offered resources or Krishna himself. Duryodhana chose only resources. And he said, what will I do with Krishna without, when he does not want to fight? Yeah. So this is, trying to get the Shakti without the Shaktiman. This is Ravana mentality. It's Duryodhana mentality. So another extreme is the Surpanaka mentality. She wanted Ram for her own pleasure, and she wanted to even kill Sita. Yeah. So these two kind of mentalities are not the amicable to what is called devotion. Yeah, the right attitude is to bring Shakti and Shaktiman together, just as Hanuman did. Yeah, he brought the Shakti and Shaktiman together. Shakti and Shaktiman are to be worshipped together. Just like, the Brahmana in the story of Rukmini and Lord Krishna. They brought Krishna and Rukmini together. So this is like, this is how a Jiva worships the Lord, Shakti and Shaktiman together. And by also the way to Purusha is through the Prakriti. This is also a very important concept. Interestingly, see, this is what even Lord Krishna tells in the Gita. Yeah. Aham sarvasya prabhavo matta sarvam pravartate iti matva bhajante mam buddha bhava samanvita. Yeah. So for everything emanates from me. Knowing this, worship me with Buddha and Bhava, with your intelligence and emotion. Yeah, that is we cannot approach directly Krishna. Yeah, the way to Krishna is through his Shakti. That is why when we are chanting Hare Krishna, Hare comes first. Through his Shakti, we approach the Shaktiman. So, and even also interestingly, if you see Bhagavatam, in the 10 cantos of Bhagavatam, in the second canto, the first question is asked, what is the duty of a dying man? Yeah. So in answer to that, Shukadev Goswami actually answers that, to hear the glories of Lord Krishna. So when Shukadev Goswami actually starts narrating, what is the first thing that he spoke about? He spoke about creation. The entire second canto, he spoke about creation. Why? I mean, he could have directly spoken about the glories of Lord Krishna or even the pastimes between the Lord and his devotees. Why did he start with creation? This is because, the way to approach the Lord is through this. Unless we understand, we connect to the Lord through our surroundings. Yeah, and unless it becomes a samskara within us, we cannot directly jump to connecting with Krishna. Unless we see the divinity around us, in our immediate surroundings, yeah, seeing Krishna in everything and everything in Krishna, unless we develop that vision, we do not go to that higher realms of bhakti. It starts with everything around us. So this is, the attitude one should cultivate. So when the right attitude is cultivated, no matter, whom you're worshipping, you reach the right conclusion. If not, apparently you might be simply worshipping Krishna, but you don't have the right attitude. What's the use? On the other hand, if you're a worshipper of even there's this beautiful example of Chandidas in Chaitanya Charitamrita. Yeah. So Chandidas, he was a worshipper of Goddess Durga. And he had his own beautiful forest of flowers, which he raised only to worship, exclusively for the worship of his deity, of Goddess Durga. Yeah. And this Chandidas had a brother. His brother was, he used to worship Shaligram. Yeah, he's a devotee of Lord Vishnu. But he was not so well-to-do. He was always very sober, never used to express his thoughts or anything, or never did he disturb Chandidas' devotion. So one day, this brother of Chandidas, as he was looking at this beautiful garden of flowers, which was raised by Chandidas, he had in his heart, a desire. Oh, all these beautiful flowers, I want to offer them in the worship of my Shaligram, who is Lord Narayan. So with that thought, he actually mentally offered those flowers to Lord Narayan. So when he did that, but he didn't tell anything to his brother Chandidas. So then after some time, then Chandidas picked up flowers from his garden on a regular basis, what he used to do. And he worshipped Chandi, mother, goddess Durga, with those flowers. And when he worshipped that day, goddess Chandi, goddess Durga was so pleased with him that she actually spoke to him. Said, "My dear Chandidas, today I am so pleased with you, with what you have done." It's like, "Hare, what did I do?" Then she tells, "You have offered me those flowers that have been offered to Lord Narayan. And I've got the Mahaprasad, which you have offered to me. And I'm so grateful to you. I bless you that may you become a great devotee of Lord Krishna." So then, Chandidas, then he could connect things. He understood what it is. He understood what pleases actually Goddess Durga. Yeah. And then his heart got totally transformed. Also because of, by his personal realization, and also because of the blessings of Goddess Durga herself. And what was a blessing she gave him? May you be a great devotee of Lord Krishna. And then Chandidas, in his heart, his dormant devotion for Lord Krishna, came into being. And he became a great composer of great poetry in glorification of Lord Radha and Krishna, which was appreciated by Mahaprabhu himself. So this is, this is how the attitude is so important. How attitude is so very important, no matter what our worship is.
Thank you, Mataji, for very nicely explaining about energy without the energetic, Shakti without the Shaktiman is actually not very helpful. And how Goddess Durga is actually allowing us to move towards the Shaktiman. Yeah, very beautifully explained. And we have 5 more questions, Mataji. And towards the end, we may have some hand raisers who might ask you some questions, and maybe there will be some comments. And there are some wonderful senior devotees also who have joined today. So we will acknowledge their presence towards the end, and also take some comments from them too. So my 4th question would be about, Goddess Lalita Devi. Most people recite the prayers of Lalita Sahasranam. So as we all know, Goddess Lalita has got 60 yoginis to serve her. And among them are the 8 Vagdevis. And they used to recite this Lalita Sahasranama. This was given to sage Agastya by Hayagriva, who was an incarnation of Lord Krishna, Lord Vishnu. So could you just throw some light if this kind of a worship of Lalita is bona fide? Because most women actually worship Lalita through the Sahasranam in order to fulfill their desires, to get a good husband or good children, or their education, or for health and prosperity. So is this worship bona fide? And what is the real form of worship? Could you kindly explain in brief, Mataji? Thank you.
Yes. So I was just actually also discussing with Tulsi Mataji today evening. So this is very famous amongst women, the Lalita Sahasranam, very ardently worship. Also my sister's mother-in-law also, she worships very ardently. Yeah, she's famous as a immediate bestower of desires. Yeah. So yeah, bona fide as such, Lalita Sahasranam is given in the Brahmanda Purana. So it is one of the 18 Mahapuranas. So the description and the glorification is bona fide. So and again, so as you have the question that you have put forth, is that is a worship bona fide, and should we do it? And especially asking for so many material desires to be fulfilled. Then again, we have about the we can go back to our Gita. The Bhagavad Gita speaks so much about the futility of the material desires, and when a person is certainly like Lord Krishna calls these the desires fulfilled as temporary, and paltry, very paltry in nature. That is so So basically, whatever is there in our quota, it comes to us without, as Srila Prabhupada wonderfully writes in one of his books, that whatever happiness and distress is there set aside to us as our quota, it comes to us unasked. Yeah, this is a philosophical understanding.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So when it comes on its own accord, why do we have to strive and struggle so much for it? Especially the material boons. It's an endless zone. The more we get it, we always want something else and something more. There is no satiation to that. Yeah. And certainly that is why Srila Prabhupada's recommendation is that we do our part, our dharma, whatever is our duty, and whatever happiness comes on its own accord as a part of fruition of our own good karmas, accept it with gratitude, and the remaining aspect of your life, utilize it for, this is the intelligent person. What an intelligent person does is they invest in the higher purpose. Yeah, in the higher purpose, to fulfill the higher purpose of life. Yeah, that is spirituality. So because unless one moves, even in psychology, let us say, for example, in psychology, the root cause of all the psychological diseases, all the psychological ailments or problems, you know what it is? It is I-centeredness. I-centeredness. So a person may be having all, the most beautiful partner, the greatest riches, the biggest bungalow, and, high scholarship and everything. But still there are people who suffer and who are not happy. And they are the people who visit the psychiatrist the most. And so with all these analysis, the conclusion of psychology as a science is that the root cause of all the psychological ailments is I-centeredness. So as long as I am the center and my enjoyment is the center, and I use everything around me, including my connections with demigods for my own happiness, to fulfill my own desires, I'm not going to be peaceful or happy. The whole Bhagavatam is, or all the Puranas and Itihasas, they're all speaking about the same. The people who have got the greatest riches and everything under the sun, which a person can aspire for. You see, Ravana, Indra, Chandra, and all the demigods, they became cooks in their kitchens. The Navagrahas, which we are always, looking for in the astrological charts, they have become the steps on which, Ravana is to trample and come down. And that's how much he ruled. It's beyond imagination. What is the power and control they had? And what is the luxury they had? If he's feeling hot, the wind did not dare to blow too hard, or too slow. He had to adjust himself according to the mood of Ravana. We can't just imagine kind of everything that they had. So, yeah, so that's how everything is, we see in the examples of Itihasas and, our Bhagavad Puranas, that people who made it, who had it all, were so frustrated at the end of the day. So that's a clear example to show that, we might get all this, but nonetheless, we're not happy. So if we really, so the intelligent people invest in something called the yoga, that is connecting with the divine, and utilize their human energies, the God-given energies and gifts and talents to actually serve the Lord. Yeah, and thereby attain to the realm of eternal bliss that is never ending and everlasting. Okay, that could answer the question.
Mataji.
Yes.
So what you're trying to say is, desires when fulfilled lead to more greed, and desires when not fulfilled lead to anger. So in any case, it leads to certain anarthas in the heart. So that will only, materially contaminate us further. So asking God for something is not the real aim of life. The real aim of life is to nourish the soul and not the body. Thank you so much. And are there any references of Durga Devi in the Bhagavad Gita, Mataji? So we have another 4 questions. So quickly, let's go through. Thank you.
Okay. I mean, I'm sorry, but like how much time do we have, Mataji? I mean, I should have asked this question an hour ago.
It's an hour already gone by, Mataji, 8:30 to 9:30. So
Okay.
maybe in another 10 minutes, if we can finish them, we
Okay.
can take some questions from the audience, or maybe
Yeah.
we'll take only 2 questions from my side and then leave the floor open to the audience, Mataji.
Great. Yeah. So you were asking about the Bhagavad, any references. So definitely in the Gita, the 9th chapter gives a hint, and then even the 7th chapter, Krishna speaks about Goddess Durga, and he refers to as Daiviyesha Gunamayi Mama Maya Duratyaya. Yeah. Mameva hi prapadyante mayametam tarantite. That is, so this material nature consisting of 3 modes is difficult to overcome. Yeah, but only if you surrender to me, you will overcome that. So we see that, how difficult it is to, recent example of COVID. That's just a small example of what Prakriti can do when we are really, meddling with the loss of nature. It's just a small example what Prakriti can do. Nobody had a solution to do it. All that we could do is just isolate and survive. Some of us survived and some of us didn't. So it's Duratyaya. It's impossible to overcome. Yeah. But Krishna is telling, but if you surrender to me, I will personally help you overcome this. And of course, even in the 9th chapter, Krishna also speaks about those people who take shelter of the Mohini Prakriti. Yeah, Mohini Prakriti is the illusory energy. What happens to them? Yeah, Moghasha, Moga Karmana, Moga Jnana Vichetasa. Yeah, their everything, their asha, their hopes, their karma, that is their activities, and jnana, their knowledge, all of them are baffled. Yeah. But those who take shelter of his divine energy, Daivim Prakriti, they are Mahatmas. Mahatmanastu Mamsha Partha, Daivim Prakriti Mashita. And these people, they are devoted to the Supreme Lord and they attain perfection. So these are, a couple of places where something about this Mohini Prakriti and Goddess Durga is mentioned in the Gita. And what she does.
Yeah, Mataji. Now, my question would be for the current generation. Actually, Navaratras are all about dandiya, colorful clothes, watching movies, traveling, eating pizzas, moving with friends, and all these things. So, if spirituality is devoid of enjoyment, then doesn't it sound very boring, Mataji? What do you say?
Yes, definitely. The festivals are occasion of celebration. Yeah. And festivity is something that leads, that gives positive samskaras in the children. They look forward to it. Yeah. So, festivals does not mean, bithao or bas sunate hi jao, and okay. So that's one aspect. So the spirit of the festival has to be, understood, and it should be given from one generation to the next generation. In fact, that is the responsibility of all our contemporaries. So there are 3 aspects. There is education, there is culture, and there is devotion. Education, one should understand what is the significance of this festival. Yeah, like for example, the Navaratras, what does it signify? Who is Goddess Durga? Like, the special program that you have conducted for 1 hour, this is sufficient. This is sufficient gyan for the festival. Yeah, we understand the meaning of it, the purpose of it, the essence of it, and the significance of it. So that's important. Another aspect, culture. Yeah, culture is what is coming down in our tradition. How is this festival celebrated? So, like in some houses, there are some special dishes that are cooked, which are coming from generations after generations. There are special laddus that are made on Navaratris. My mother-in-law makes some kind of a special sweet that is specially cooked on this occasion of Dusshera. So these are some things that, as a part of culture, very, very important for us to learn and also pass it down to our children. It's very easy to go and to the mithai wala, get some sweets and then have. But actually to learn this traditional food ourselves and then, to actually offer it to the Lord, it creates such an impression upon our children and to the next generation. So culture is also very important. How the festival is celebrated, the festivity, the mood of festivity is very, very significant. It's good. This positive culture has to be encouraged. Like, for example, for Diwali, there has been a very negative propaganda that fireworks should not, there should be no more fireworks. I mean, if you go to the root of it, I don't want to get into the details of it. There's a lot of negative force that was operating to actually stop these kind of festivities and to actually kill our Sanatan Dharma. That's a very complex, pre-planned, programmed propaganda. So we should, protect ourselves from such things. So this mood of festivity is very important, and and education and devotion. So ultimately, this festival, how is this festival helping me, connect to the Supreme? Yeah. So these three things, when they are there in a right balance, and I'm sure every festival can be more enjoyable than what it is currently. Yeah, because the festival, when it is just observed without connection, without understanding its purpose, if it's just for, going around, just like Namrata Mataji has said, it has become more of a fashion parade, wear the best ghagra, lehenga, and, be your best, dress your best self. And I, there are different places. And I know when I was in my school, it was such a, oh my God, it was such a pressure. Peer pressure. They ask, have you gone to the dandiya yesterday? It's just about dandiya and garba. Once I went and I didn't know this garba dance. It was like, I'm a South Indian. So this is like, all my friends were Gujaratis and they were all dancing. And they asked me, can you come and dance? I said, no. And it was such a pressure. I never understood what is Navaratri, or, for me, it was all about this dancing, wearing new ghagras and going and dancing. So and it was not enjoyable to me by any means. But now when I understand what Dusshera is, who is Goddess Durga, why she's worshipped, and what is the mood in which I connect to her and through her to the Supreme Source, gives me such joy, such happiness. And I want to pass this on to my next generation, to my daughter, something significant. So yes, festivals are, meant to enjoy. It's a time for festivity, and they have a very deep significance in terms of how we observe it and how we give it.
So real enjoyment comes from nourishing the soul, or nourishing ourselves spiritually and not materially, just for the body. So basically what you're trying to say is, desires may get fulfilled, but we won't feel satisfied and happy. So the real desire is to be connected to the Supreme Lord, and how we do it is like through our Shastra. And what we need to do is chant simple mantras, because sitting and doing Lalita Sahasranam for me is like, next to almost impossible. Basically, because first thing, I've never done it in my life. I neither have that much of time. And I always wanted something which is very comprehensive. So if you have to suggest any mantra to the younger generation and to all the audience who are actually watching you and hearing you today, what would it be? And is it bona fide? Because if it is not from the Shastra, then I would not be interested in chanting that mantra. And it has to be simple, because in the fast paced life, I can't think of, reading out 1008 names of 8 names of Lord Vishnu or Goddess Durga. It has to be simple. So can you suggest any such mantra, Mataji?
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Very good. And can you just give us a reference from the Shastra where it is? Because we would not like to follow anything blindly. So where in Shastras is it mentioned, Mataji?
This is in Kali Santara Upanishad speaks about the Iti Sho, this 16 syllable mantra is the source of
Iti Shodashaka Nam Nam.
Nam Nam. Yes, that's there. And also that is in the age of Kali. Yeah, there is no other way of deliverance other than chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Yeah. Harir Nama, Harir Nama, Harir Nama Iva Kevalam, Kalau Nashteva, Nashteva, Nashteva Gatiranyatha. And also the Bhagavatam speaks about this. Krishna Varnam Tusha Krishnam Sangopanastra Parshadam Yajnair Sankirtana Prayer Yajanti Sumedasaha. So those who are intelligent in this age of Kali, yeah, so they subscribe to the Harinam Sankirtana. Yeah, that's the thing that is most intelligent people do, because they understand what is the Yuga Dharma. So Yuga Dharma is to chant the holy name of Lord Krishna. Yeah, this is again stated in one of all the scriptures. And in the scriptures, what is stated is to chant the 16 syllables, the Mahamantra, the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. It's the most easiest. Yeah. There is Tatrarmita Niyamita Smaranena Kala. There are no hard and fast rules to chant this holy name. It's very simple. Simple for the simple. Yes, and as Mataji said, what we've discussed is, of course, what some are practicing, but most of us who are living in a fast-paced life, we have our own profession, our own careers. And for us to think of spirituality, it's like, it's that's why whenever we speak about spirituality to people, they say that maybe I have to pack my bags and go to the north. No. So be situated where you are and go ahead with whatever you're doing, your own jobs, your own duties, which are very important. And spirituality has to be integrated. And it is integrated with ease and with effectiveness by simply chanting of the holy names of Lord Krishna, which is the Yuga Dharma. So,
thank you so much, Mataji, for so beautifully explaining to us. It is said that Rome was not built in a day, which means your knowledge, your wisdom that is oozing today, and the luster and brilliance that you have internally and externally is all due to the Bhakti Shastri or the Bhakti Shastra or the Bhakti Shakti that you have derived from Guru and Krishna. And you have beautifully enumerated so many important points to us today, not only stating the importance of Durga Devi, also talking about the Shakti and the Shaktiman. We can't separate them. And who is the real Shaktiman, whom we are actually supposed to follow and worship. And even though worship of Goddess Durga is very bona fide, where we stand today and what we need to do in a fast-paced life, we want small and short mantras, which will have the benefit of every mantra. So this is a comprehensive mantra, which has got the benefits of all the mantras which are stated in the Shastra. So for all of us who have very little time, this will be very useful. And chanting a prescribed number of 16 rounds each day is the best. But then for those who are just starting to chant, it is advised that we begin with one round, that is 108 times each day. And definitely it is also going to be as good as worshipping Goddess Kali or Durga or all the, forms of demigods. If you're chanting the Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, you're actually revering, respecting each and every god and goddess, along with Lord Krishna, Rama, and Goddess Radhika, that is Radharani. So here we have some very, important personalities who have joined the call today. Her Grace Madhuri Devi Dasi, she is my god sister. I mean, practicing Krishna consciousness for almost 30 plus years. And then we have Her Grace Tulsi Devi Mataji. We also have Kavita Mataji, Karuna Radhika Mataji. And we have Neeta Maheshwari Mataji, who has joined us from Pakistan. She preaches in Karachi and she teaches, Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam there to children and also to the older people. And I thank all my relatives and friends who have joined today and very patiently heard everything, and I hope you all have benefited. And for those who have not begun bhakti, there is a very famous Chinese proverb which says, the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago, and the second best time is now. So, as we have heard about the Hare Krishna Mahamantra from Mataji, we can start right away today itself. In case we have actually derived anything from the class, immediately to follow it and put it to practice. Thank you so much once again, Mataji. And I would like to keep the floor open for anybody who would want to ask questions or give comments. You can either type in text, or you can also unmute yourself and talk.
Hare Krishna, before anybody asks questions, I just wanted to offer my respects to all the senior devotees in this forum. Karna Radhika Mataji, Tulsi Mataji, and Mataji's Mataji has just wonderful Mataji from Pakistan who's doing such amazing preaching. And dandavats to you and all the other devotees here. Hari Bol Mataji, Hare Krishna.
Yeah, can I request Madri Mataji to unmute herself and talk? Madri Mataji, are you there? I think she isn't there. Neeta Maheshwari Mataji, could you please unmute yourself? She is joining from Karachi. So we would want to have a few words from you.
Hare Krishna, everyone.
Krishna.
It's really incredible session, and it was really uplifting, especially when we talk about the power of Durga Devi. So all the elements are within us, and that was a message by Ujjvala Devi Dasiji. It was really a great session for all of us.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mataji.
Thank you very much.
Her Grace Tulsi Mataji. Mataji, kindly unmute yourself and Tulsi Mataji, would you please unmute yourself?
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandat Pranam. Thank you so much. This was such a nice session and most suitable for the ongoing festival. And clarity of thought, clarity of speech are your hallmarks. So we are so proud of you, and thank you for the timely discussion. Because this is there with most of us. We all face this, that many people keep asking us these questions. But like from the bona fide sources, the right answers to the right questions. Very, very grateful for this nice, wonderful session. I had a small question to ask. Do we have time just for a minute?
Yes, Mataji, please ask.
Like while we were discussing about giving the festival and its spirit to the children. So earlier there was not much of a cultural mix, Mataji. Like most of the even in Telugu speaking people, so the Andhra people followed their customs, and the Telangana people followed their customs, and then the North Indians had their customs, like that. Like once we have taken to a devotional lifestyle, our children, the children of the devotees, actually they don't get a wholesome of any culture. Most of the time it is like they get a mixture, and it's also confusing for the mothers and the teachers also to give what culture to what extent. Should we give or should we not give? Suppose there's a devotee child. So does she go attend Batkama, or does she attend some 9-day festival what grandma is doing, or does she just go and sing Hare Krishna with some devotee friends? Or am I clear with my question? It's many times a confusion. How much of our culture do we give our children? Like it's not that we keep them all the time at home because they have friends. We want them to go out. We want them to be future preachers. So how do we go about this? Any thought, any tangible points where we can follow immediately?
Hare Krishna. It's a very, very important thought, Mataji. Actually, this question has been discussed in a very threadbare and elaborately in one of our counselor meetings. Like His Grace Krishna Kishore Prabhuji. So I'll just try to give a gist of it, which actually struck a chord with me. So
Hare Krishna Mataji, can I?
Yes.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranams to all present in this Zoom meeting. I really appreciate Champaka Lata Mataji and Ujjvala Radhe Mataji for giving so much information. Many times people follow so many rituals without knowing why they have doing. Certain things they get explained, certain things they may not get explanation. But you have explained everything with examples. Examples make their life very easy to follow them, especially in this new generation. They need examples, which is which I think it clears many doubts for them, because the doubt is the one which will not enable them to follow particular principle or whatever that is there. But you have given such a beautiful example of Rukmini and Chandi Das and so many things. It is really very much needed for new generation. And what you said is festival is connecting more to the soul more than the other practices. Yes, it's very much needed. Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you so much, Mataji. So I'll just get back to the question which raised by Tulsi Mataji. So regarding what we have to, what and how do we have to pass on this tradition to our children? So there are some traditions which are like a part of our culture. Like, for example, there is Varalakshmi. Like, I come from Andhra. Okay, there is something called, which my mother and everybody used to observe, called Varalakshmi Vratam, which is called maybe in a different name here. Yeah, it's basically where a girl child who's unmarried, they actually worship Goddess Varalakshmi with a desire to get a good husband. Yeah. So my counselor said that this is something which which one should continue, because the very mood of actually praying to a higher power to get a good husband, that in itself actually imbibes something called a mood of, the right mood of entering into a nuptial knot for a woman. Yeah. It prepares the woman that, imagine you're praying. These days, if you tell a girl that, you pray for a good husband, they say, well, they should pray to get a girl like me. See, this is how they argue. So, I mean, it's endless. So something that is like a vratam like this, which we encourage children right from their young age, from 5 to 6 years of age, this is how you pray. Or, of course, they grow up a little. You offer your prayers and, do a vrata. Observe vows and pray that you get a good husband. That's a very, very nice. Along with this culture, you're actually also giving them the right attitude. Yeah, the Vaishnava attitudes. So such practices should be carried on. And so, as you said, like, when you have an option of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra or Batukamma, or, what are you supposed to do? So again, Batukamma is like, I don't know, it's not like, yeah, maybe Telangana people will be able to answer this better. I do not know what is the connection as such, but I can speak about Varalakshmi Vratam, and I know its significance, and it is certified as, a tradition that has to be practiced and should be given down, because it is very relevant in cultivating the right attitude towards the Vivaha Samskara. So if that's how the connection can be seen, they should always be encouraged. I'm sure you also do many things like you invite Mataji's home and you give pasubottu, right? So it's something very nice, very culturally, and it's a cultural event where you show respect, and there are some exchange of positive vibes and energies. And for women, these things actually I'm actually, you yourself told me once, the girls who grow up in such culturally vibrant families, when they grow up, they don't deviate, they don't get distracted by outside elements. So this is very important for girls right from the childhood to be culturally well connected to their traditions. It's like a protective armor for them.
Yes, Mataji, thank you so much for the wonderful answer. We have around 6 to 7 people wanting to talk. over the microphone. First, I would invite Kavita Chintala Mataji, that is Karuna Radhika Devi Dasi.
Mataji, Hare Krishna. Thank you so much for such a wonderful session. I've always wanted to know more about Dusshera to be able to answer, and you made my life easy. So I have everything in one hour. One question, Mataji, if I may. So we read that all the forms of energy, all the Lakshmis and Durgas are also emanating from Radharani. So, but she's actually external energy. So how do we connect, Radharani to Parvati and all other forms, Mataji?
Yes, so there's this beautiful verse which says that Devi Krishnamayi Prokta Radhika Paradevata Sarva Lakshmi Mayi Sarva Shanti Sammohini Para. So this beautiful verse speaks about Sarva Radhika Paradevata. She is the supreme goddess, and Sarva Lakshmi Mayi Sarva. She is the origin of all the Lakshmis, all the goddesses of fortune. So, and just like Krishna is the source of all the Purushavataras, Srimati Radharani is the source of all the Shakti Tattva. And so this has been very much confirmed in all the scriptures. Yeah. So, and she has her, personal expansion, the Kaya view her as her Sakhis, and her mirror reflections as the queens of Dwaraka. Yeah. And her plenary expansions as the Lakshmis, goddesses of fortunes. Yeah. Just like Krishna expands himself as Dwarakadish, and that's when he marries many queens. And he also expands himself into different Narayanas. Yeah. So whenever the Lord expands as Narayana, the same Srimati Radharani expands herself. Her expansions are the Lakshmis, different goddesses of fortune. So that's how, then Krishna manifests himself as, again, Lord Shiva, let's say. Yeah. So Lord Shiva, how is it is, stated in Brahma Samhita that, just like milk, when it is, when it comes in contact with the acidifying agent, turns into curd, Lord Krishna, then it, with it's a tinge of the mode of ignorance, he transforms into Lord Shiva. So that's how, from Krishna, actually, because Lord Shiva is not the Jiva Tattva. Yeah, he's Shambhu Tattva, totally different. So that's how Shiva has originated actually from the Tattva of Lord Krishna himself. From Srimati Radharani came the goddesses of fortune, and she herself again expands into this Durga. Yeah. So there is Goddess Durga, who is, the the Yogamaya and the Mahamaya, yeah, who expands herself. So the Yogamaya is that Maya Shakti of the Lord, which actually connects the devotees to Krishna. And the same Yogamaya becomes Mahamaya when she manifests herself in this material world. Yeah, and she does that thankless service. So if you see actually the translation of this particular verse of Brahma Samhita, Srishti Sthiti Pralaya Sadhana Shakti Rekha, in that last paragraph, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he actually writes that the Durga, who is like actually the maid servant of Lord Krishna, who actually carries forth his instructions, is beyond this material realm. But in the material realm, she manifests herself as a reflection. Chaya. Chaya is the shadow. And she carries out all the duties, the Srishti, Sthiti, and Pralaya. So this is the Tattva. So the origin is Srimati Radharani, and she manifests herself as, her Kaya Vyuha, or mirror reflections, or plenary portions, or her other expansions as Yogamaya and Mahamaya. So they're all, Srimati Radharani is the origin.
It's the internal energy, Mataji?
It's the internal energy, yes. So it is the internal energy of Lord Krishna is, three types, the Sandhini, Samvit, and Hladini Shakti. So that is why the Shakti Tattva is a very, as I said, it manifests in a wide span, starting from, as I said, the Grama Devata whom we see, worship here, to Hladini Shakti. Yeah. Hladini Shakti is that internal potency. So what we see in this material world is external energy. And, the internal potency is represented by Srimati Radharani, Rukmini Devi, and all these concerts of the Vishnu Tattva.
Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you,
for
Mataji.
the question.
Hare Krishna.
Today, I would like to introduce you to a very senior devotee joining from ISKCON Chaupati, Mumbai. She is Her Grace Neeladri Devidasi. She gives sessions to young girls and she has been training them for a very long time. I met her in 2019 during the Yatra, and ever since then we have been such wonderful friends. She's very senior to me but has no airs at all. She makes me so comfortable. So Neeladri Mataji, could you please unmute yourself and say a few words?
I mean, the introduction which you give actually baffles everybody, but I take this with the, kind of pinch of salt. But for the today's session, thank you for adding me and giving the link. It was really, 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 I mean, I can't even put it in words. Very articulate, very crystal clear, very pristine descriptions from the Shastras. So basically, I remember, I won't be able to start my video because I'm in not in a position to show myself.
Okay.
But then
researching.
you all are so illuminated, even in your, externally and internally, I'm not in that. But, I had when long back when I was just talking about Durga Devi to one of our, god sisters, I happened to come across one. Can I take 2 minutes? Is it okay?
Yes, certainly.
Yeah. I came across a very nice video clip from one of the Goswamis from Vrindavan, wherein he, very nicely states why we have the 9 forms of Durga. Basically, in today's world, we see the women are not given a lot of importance. They've been derided for many other reasons, sex, whatever, abuse and all. But then he went on to say the 9 forms of Durga Devi is an actually outpouring of the heart of Lord towards his own feminine potency. Like, if your Mataji explained very nicely all the 9 forms, how, from being a daughter to a Skandamata and eventually gradually progressing our consciousness to the last one, which is Siddhidhatri, wherein if we pray with the right mood, she also grants us so many siddhis. And what is a siddhi that devotees are looking for is obviously undivided love to Krishna and Radha. So he went on to explain, and basically, as Mataji rightly pointed out, that one is Chaitra and one is Sharadiya Navratri. So basically, he went on to say it is not even, obviously it's a cultural aspect, but it is also a scientific aspect, because these 2 Navratris, which are the main Navratris, actually there are 5, but among the 5 there are 2. So basically this 2 is for, kind of when the seasonal change comes about in the atmosphere, how our body should kind of, acclimatize to it, and how we take in all the penances. Obviously there are so many forms that we try to, kind of fast and all. So basically, emotionally, spiritually, and also, spiritually, emotionally, and physically, on all these 3 things, where our spiritual progress stands, this Navratri signifies that. So basically, just two minutes more, like I just happened to come across some very nice interpretations for us devotees, where we can, kind of, obviously when people ask us what Durga Devi stands for, where are there, how is Vaishnava related to Durga, and how do we counteract all those kind of questions. I just came across 2-3 commentaries of Jiva Goswami, wherein he, in his commentary of from the Brahma Samhita, where he actually writes that she is the supreme controller. There is no difference between the powers of Lord Krishna and the powers of all his powers, because eventually he is the one who's giving powers. And Durga obviously is Yogamaya, and she's the personal potency of Krishna. This actually Jiva Goswami writes. And he also writes, not he, in the Narad Pancharatra, it is also said that she is the expansion of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And basically, obviously, people will tell, now, all Vaishnavas tell from all Vaishnava scriptures. But what about Devi Bhagavatam? No? So he says, Devi Bhagavatam, Canto 9, Chapter 2, very specifically for Vaishnavas it is written, it is said, she bestows on Krishna's devotee pure devotion to Krishna. She is a Vaishnavi at heart, and she also gives the Shakti to the Vaishnavas to reach Radha and Krishna. So basically, as Ujjwal Radha Mataji said, na, if you chant mantras, so obviously in Devi Bhagavad, it is obviously about the mantra of Devi Charitra. So it is said, if you recite the Devi mantra with pure devotion to her, with the aim of self-purification, then she will clear all the path, all the difficulties that we have in our path, and ultimately actually hold our hands and take us to Radha and Krishna, because she possesses that strength. So imagine if we have that understanding, basically we don't have the understanding. If we have the understanding that she actually is a benefactor, because in the initial presentation which Ujjwal Radhika said, she's very strict. Maybe because of that strictness, we get a little bit perturbed. But basically, she's a mother. So she actually holds our hand and takes us to Radha and Krishna. And also in one of the Puranas, it is said, na, because she's a Vaishnavi, even Krishna had asked Arjuna to take blessings from her before the start of Kurukshetra war, because she represents the primordial energy and the ultimate power of the universe. So even Krishna is asking. So basically, in our scriptures, we should never disrespect the demigods or the, all these powers which Krishna has invested in them. So like with this, I would like to thank Ujjwal Radhika Mataji and Champaka Lata for, allowing me to speak. And I would like to meet you both in the yatra, if at all, if you are coming for the Puri Kartik yatra. Thank you so much.
Thank you for your illumination, Mataji. I have a couple of more people who would want to, comment. Sri Sambamurthy is my very elderly cousin. So I request him to unmute and speak a few words. And next will be Nagesh Yaramani. Yes, Anna.
Pranams to all Matajis and pranams to all of you. It was really delighting to hear about the significance of, Navaratris. Basically, for the generations, we perform, these festivals, but the significance behind it, many of us do not know. Even though we know broadly, but if we really see it systematically, where exactly it get connected and what we have to do, the festivals are performed just for enjoyment, in terms of like, for example, taking in new clothes, going to a movie or something like that, have good food and all that. But the main essence is more important. So I think this kind of things, this kind of conversations definitely will help everybody to understand the main significance behind it, and how it is going to really help us in terms of how do we connect to the God, and how do we really get into kind of what we say bhakti or spirituality, so that we internally ourselves, individually, how we develop ourselves. Also, one of the things is that main festivals, how do we really make younger generation to make this aware that because younger generations are more, as we discussed, they are more, their time is very less for them. They are running for their careers and all that. At the same time, they do not have much time, or rather, they are not paying attention to these kind of things. So, how do we make it so that it makes them to divert their mind towards these kind of things, so that they are aware what to do, and what the path that they have to take besides taking care of their daily activities. Thank you very much, really.
Thank you, Anna. Thank you so much. And Nagesh Yaramalla.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Thank you for beautiful program, and it was very informative, and really you gave so much information. So I have one question, which is always, so the last question about the simple Maha Mantra that Mataji asked, Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, that's a beautiful thing. Now, mind is so smart, right? You're chanting and it wanders into so many places. So give some tips on, while chanting, we're actually focusing on the Lord.
Such a sweet question. Yes. Thank you. So firstly, I congratulate that you really want to. Yeah. The very thought that I actually want to focus, I want to improve my japa, I want to really hear what I'm chanting. The thought in itself is something so beautiful, so appreciated by Lord Krishna. Yeah.
Okay.
So at the end of the day, one good news is more than how much we can focus or concentrate, Krishna is more pleased with that endeavor. So the mind is such that it's difficult. Yeah. This is what Arjuna is telling. Arjuna, who is Arjuna? Arjuna is somebody who is, by the dint of his great power of celibacy, he could get the knowledge of Brahmastra, which is not given to even, great mystics like Ashwatthama initially, or even Karna. Such Arjuna is telling about mind, Chanchalam hi mana Krishna, pramathi bhalavadridam, tasyaham nigraham manye vayoriva sudushkaram. Yeah, that is, this mana is chanchalam. It is very, very turbulent. It's very restless. Yeah. Even scientific discoveries, studies have spoken that in a day, a person processes an average of 40,000 thoughts. And this is the nature of the mind. Yeah, it's the very nature of the mind. So for the mind to be distracted, it's not something unusual. It's the very nature of the mind. Yeah. Pramathi, Ballava, Dridam. Yeah. Dridam means it's very obstinate. The more you want to control it, the more it gets distracted. That's what is obstinacy. Sometimes we deal with some children. I'm sure you might have dealt with kids. The more we try to control them, the more they become rebellious. Yeah. So dealing with mind is something like dealing with a child, a restless child. So that's one aspect. So when we understand this nature, we will not be bewildered. The very nature of the mind is to get distracted, especially when once Swamiji said, if you want to know what your attachments are, pick up your bead bag and start chanting. Immediately on the screen of your mind, all your attachments flash. So yeah. So then what to do? So what to do is like simply I can just share some tips which help, general tips. That is like keep the japa in the early hours of morning. Yeah. Just like whenever, sir, you want to go, let's say from point A to point B in Hyderabad, the best time to go is early mornings. No traffic. Yeah. So in the mind, there is no traffic early in the morning. It's clear. So japa is easier. You can concentrate better. So the more we pick up the daily course, just like there are too much of traffic, the mind is flooded with too many plannings and organization and, what's next kind of thoughts. So it gets difficult to focus on the mantra. So the best and something that works almost always is early morning hours. The second is, that is how we chant 2 hours of our japa depends on how we spend the 22 hours of the day. So if the rest of the 22 hours is somewhat related to Krishna, it's very easy to slip the mind into thinking about Krishna when we are chanting. And another third one is just before chanting, if you spend 2 minutes in giving the mind some affirmations, oh mind, please know that this holy name is not different than Krishna himself. We're not dealing with something ordinary. This is something very, he's Krishna himself. Just remind the mind about that. And he's a person. He's a person. So just like, when I call somebody home and I don't give attention to them, they feel bad. So Krishna's holy name, you're calling out to Krishna, who's the supreme person, and we're not attentive. It's actually an offense. And it's a root cause of all other offenses is inattentiveness. So just remind ourselves about these things and give positive affirmations before we chant. So I'm sure applying these 3 will definitely work.
Yeah, beautiful.
Improving japa. Thank you.
Thank you for the wonderful japa talk, Mataji. And next, I would like to call my father and my Prabhu Vinkamanda Vivek. First, my father. Nana, please unmute yourself. నాన్న అన్మ్యూట్ చేసుకుంటారా?
చేస్తున్నాను. It's a fantastic lecture by Mataji and also you, Amma. Fantastic. And this chanting, I do every day 16 rounds, and I do for 7.5 minutes each round. When I finish 16 rounds, I get lot of satisfaction. That day, I have very good peace of mind. Everything goes well, bodily as well as mentally. I have sincere suggestion to my friends and relatives to do chanting 16 rounds, which is prescribed by Prabhupada also, Chaitanya Prabhu. Thank you.
Thank
Hare
you.
Krishna. My humble obeisances to you, Dandavats to you, Prabhuji. It's said father and daughters are alike. So you emanate that
Thank you.
grace. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
I request my Prabhuji to unmute.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much for the nice insight out of festival feast, which goes on in everyone's mind during the festival period. I have a basic question, Mataji. Why do people visit temples, that too especially on festival days where it is very well crowded, and also it's very difficult to attend to the temple, deity in that rush, and just rush through the complete crowd and come out? I think this must be a basic question for you, but I thought I should ask you this question: why people visit temples on a normal day as well as on a special occasions like festival?
So firstly, I'm very glad to have met you. Or I don't know, I couldn't see you, sir. So, but I hope we can meet during the yatra or sometime. So regarding the question as to why people go to temple, different people go for different reasons. But I remember, this reminds me of one sweet story that there is once a blind man who is to always visit the temple despite the heavy rush. There was a lot of stampede and it's like, yeah. And he used to religiously attend, go for the darshan. So somebody once asked him, you're blind, so you can't even see the Lord. So why are you going to the temple? So this person said, I am going not to see, but to be seen. So this attitude really, impressed many people who asked him the question. So there are different people who go for different reasons, especially, all the school-going kids or the college people. They rush to temple just before, one day before exam. Do something and let me pass this exam. Yeah. So there's like a lot of pressure on the Lord just one day before the exam. And some people, for strange reasons, they approach the Lord, for the success in their love affair, or, it can be different things. Sometimes we can't even imagine why they're approaching the Lord and going to the temple. But the right mood, at least, is that we show ourselves to the Lord, to be seen by God, more than, for us to go and see the God. I hope this helps.
My viewpoint was to drive it through the spiritual point as well as the psychological point, as you have done your masters in the subject, was to make the present generation understand the importance of the temple, not because of the exams are asking for some favors from the Lord, but the importance of the temple in the India, Sanatana Dharma, and why they are existing is my point of question, ma'am.
Yes, even culturally, that temples are originally the points of all activities, if you see the Vijayanagara Empire, if you go back to the Hampi and whatever remnants are left, if we appreciate, the temples were really magnificent, and they are the cultural and educational centers. And that's where, you know, people used to come together, gather, exhibit their, you know, art, the art forms of dance, or, you know, the cultural exhibitions, or they used to express their talent, and everything was connected to God, because all of them were performed within the premises of the temple, which is so large and so humongous in its structures. So this was originally how temples were. If we can appreciate this in, you know, the temples, the magnificent temples of India, which have survived time, actually. You know, we go and we see the Melukote temple in Karnataka, or we go and see the Krishna temple, which is in Aurangabad. So I think it's a monolith, you know, it took generations for them to complete the temple. Yeah, for these days, temple means, you know, overnight, you know, you just block some area and, you know, get some DT, and, you know, this is how we start temples. But no, earlier the kings, how they focused that even if this temple is not built in my era, even if it takes, you know, the next king will get the credit of building the temple, it's fine. But let a magnificent temple be built. So this was, you know, how the kings, the rulers, were convinced about the importance and significance of the temples. So when the rulers are convinced about the significance of the temple, the same thing is passed down to the praja. Yeah, because it filters down from the top down. Yeah. So, but currently the situation is different. You know, such kind of integration of culture and the political situation is not there. Yeah, at least we are making some steps towards that. Right? The education and the culture, like for example, the PhD that I'm doing, it is integrating the concepts of psychology in the Indian knowledge systems. Yeah, that is making the Vedic sciences more relevant to bringing forth solutions to the modern generation. So that kind of an integration, when it is brought about, then the younger generation will definitely appreciate the significance of it. So because of lack of integration, when it is, you know, it's something like they are running in one direction, you know, chasing after career goals. Temple is something that's something different. You know, it's a different direction altogether. There is no integration. So that's when they lose the connect, and augmented by sentimentality, which is so prevalent within Indian context. Yeah, these are the two things that puts off the youth from actually accepting spirituality. Yeah, because of the separation, and because of lack of integration, and because of sentimentality. So if these two things can be addressed, the question that you have asked is something that cannot be answered overnight. It's a gradual evolution of our current situation, and we have to take steps towards that. So one is, you know, to make education more holistic in the real sense. Many schools speak about holistic education, but they hardly know what is holistic education. Yeah. So yeah. So then that's when that's taken care, I'm sure in a gradual scenario, they actually visit temples for the right reason.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Mataji. And we have 2 hand raises. Very quickly, we'll take them. Vamshi Srikakulamji, can you please unmute yourself?
Thank you very much, Mataji. It was very enlightening session today. I have a simple question, Mataji. What should be the real purpose of worshipping? Always it is taught by our parents and gurus that on worshipping God, we get good marks in exam. You get a good and understanding spouse. You get a good child. You get a good job. So is this the only purpose of worshipping, or is there something more, which we can teach to the younger generation? So worshipping God doesn't mean that you get only these benefits. You are going to get something more than this.
So this is a very thoughtful question. So in fact, actually, if we tell the young generation that you're going to get all these, when you worship God, it's a total put off to them. The one question they ask is, I can get all these with hard work. Why do I need God for that? Yeah. So if I want a good job, good marks, study harder, work harder, I'll automatically get. Why do I need God? So, yeah. So the one wonderful question that you have asked us, why do we have to worship God? So the God is worshipped because he's worshipable. There's no reason. Love is unconditional. So is devotion. And God is worshipped because he is the supreme origin. Just like, why do we love our parents? Is there any reason? There's no reason, because they're our parents. It's out of love. So that's how, I mean, there are 4 levels of, understanding and approaching God. One is fear. Fear is the lowest. There are some people who, fear that if I don't worship God, that maybe something wrong might happen to me. Yeah. So out of fear, they worship. But higher than that is duty. Yeah. So beautifully that people, they have certain, what do you call, certain vows that they observe. Yeah. So many times in a day, I will visit God and offer my worship. Yeah. So least is fear. Next is duty. Third is gratitude, being with a sense of gratitude for what all has been received. And fourth, in the highest form, is out of love. Yeah. There's no reason why we worship God. Simple example is, the fruit vendor. She just came to Vrindavan to sell fruits. But when she saw Lord Krishna, in the small, beautiful boy who's bluish black and so adorable, she just fell in love with his form and, she just gave all the fruits. So why she gave? It's just out of love and affection. So these are the different levels of why we approach God: fear, duty, gratitude, and love. So we need to understand our own motives by taking an inventory into our own hearts. What is that I am expecting from God? And how do I want to approach God?
Wonderfully explain all those 4 points, Mataji. Wonderful. Next, I'll call out for Madhumati Devidasi, after which Dr. Venugopal will speak. Yeah, it's getting very late, so let's complete it quickly. Madhumati Mataji, can you unmute yourself, please?
Hare Krishna Mataji, ధన్యవాదాలు. మాతాజీ నేను తెలుగులో క్వశ్చన్ చేయొచ్చా?
చెప్పచ్చు మాతాజీ, చెప్పండి.
మాతాజీ, ఇప్పుడు మనం దుర్గా మాత గురించి చెప్పుకుంటున్నాం కదా, అయితే నేను 2 విధాలుగా విన్నాను క్లాసులలో. ఒకటి, దుర్గామాత ఎవరు అని అంటే అది యశోద మాత పుట్టిన కూతురు దుర్గా మాతాజీ అని అంటారు. ఇంకా కొద్దిమంది ఏమంటారంటే సుభద్రమయ్యే దుర్గామాతగా ఉంది అని ఉంటారు. అది రెండిట్లో ఏది అర్థం చేసుకోవాలి? ఇలా
Subhadra Maya is different. She is not Durga Maya. Durga Maya is like when Lord Krishna was brought to Gokul. At that time, a female child was born to Mother Yashoda. So she was taken back. And at that time, and taken back to Devaki. So Devaki, when the news comes to Kamsa that a girl child is born, and so Kamsa tries to destroy her, and then she takes the form of Goddess Durga, with 8 hands and 8 weapons in all the 8 different hands. And so she is Goddess Durga. And the universal voices proclaim that she is the one who's going to be worshipped as Chandi, Kali, and by different names in different parts of the world. So she is Goddess Durga. And Subhadra is different. She is born to Vasudeva and Devaki later on, after Krishna actually releases them in Kamsa. So she's much younger. She's born to Vasudeva and Rohini. Yeah. If that could clear. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Mataji. And Dr. Venugopal, my elder brother, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Matajis, and Hare Krishna to all the senior devotees and the Vaishnavas, and Hare Krishna to all our family who have joined us this evening of special Navaratri day. And you ladies here have made it very special for all of us by giving us this knowledge. And I hope we also develop the intelligence with the blessings of Lord Krishna to carry on with the good words that we have heard from you, to use all the knowledge in good discretion. And it was indeed a powerful message from all of you. Ujjvala Radhe Mataji, thank you so much for your time that you have spent with us and the amount of wisdom that you have shared with us. And in fact, my sister Champaka Lata has always made her efforts to do her best, for all of us. And thank you, Namrata Mataji, for starting the session. Thanks to Kavita Radhika Mataji, a senior cardiothoracic surgeon, but always in the midst of devotees and inspiring them. Thank you so much. And Ujjvala Mataji, you were saying about Batkama festival. In fact, it is a festival which has evidence of more than 2000 years. And Goddess Parvati is worshipped here, as you were saying about creation and existence. So this is a festival of creation and this is a festival of nature. That's why beautiful Batkama is placed and prayed for and again left in the pond so that the next vegetation that comes up is green and fruitful for all the living beings on the planet. That's the history of that festival, Mataji. And also, having said that, the beauty of all of our festivals is also that there is a culture attached to it. I mean, because of this culture, the people of this part of the country, through several years earlier also, they went through some tough times, and for example, even during the Nizam struggle, it was this festival that actually got people together and fought, for their dharma, that is for their existence, for their this thing. That is how Batkama festival also is celebrated more in this part of the country. And thank you so much, Mataji, from all of our family members, and thanks to our family also for joining us this evening and making this a very special Navratri for all of us. Hare Krishna. And due to Srila Prabhupada's mission that he should reach out knowledge through his books to all the people, and especially all the convent educated people like us, we have taken more to spirituality than ever before. I think we should pay our obeisances and thanks to him while we pray to Lord Krishna. Mataji, thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Venana. The last person I would like to call is my daughter-in-law, Shravani. Shravani, you don't have to feel shy. Just unmute yourself and speak. Shravani, are you there? Yeah, she's there. Could you unmute yourself, Shravani?
Hare Krishna, everyone. Thanks for the informative session.
Thank you, Shravani, for being there. And I thank all the audience, like all the participants here who have actually joined in spite of their very busy schedule and stayed up till 10:35. Thank you so much. I'm unable to call any more people to, thank Ujjvala Radhe Mataji. On behalf of everyone, I would thank her once again. And thank you, Mataji. We are looking forward for more such sessions from you. And with the kind of audience that you have had, the number of participants initially, it was about 82 or something. So thank you so much for enlightening everybody and giving away your very precious time. And I thank all the senior devotees, Tulsi Mataji, Karuna Radhika Mataji, Namrata Mataji, Sandhya Mataji, Madhumati Mataji, and so many more. Thank you all so much. And I thank all my friends and relatives also. And I hope you derived something from this entire session. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Thank you very much, Champaka Lata Mataji, for this session. Such an amazing environment you have created. The outreach that you're doing is very, very inspiring.
Thank you so much, Mataji.
It is actually said it's the most difficult to preach to our own family people. And, you've really worked out miracles in this stream. Actually, I think you should take one session about this. Yes. What do you say, Karuna Radhika Mataji? Isn't that?
Yes, absolutely. I've made no progress there in that field, so I could take some help.
Yeah, I mean, if I talk about some things to my Prabhuji, he's like, okay.
Actually, there is a session somebody takes, I believe, like how to
how to be with relatives and family. How should devotees be with their own family members and relatives? So something like that.
Yes.
It's late. Thank you so much. So
Champaka
wonderful.
Lata Mataji, one session on something like that is very welcome, Mataji. I will bring a notes and pen and sit down. That will be so helpful, actually.
Mataji, next in line to give sessions are you, Karuna Radhika Mataji, and so many more, Mataji. So we'll be having the book and pen in our hands. And of course, even Her Grace Ujjvala Radha Mataji. Thank you so much.
Yes, with a bigger book and pen.
It has really set the mood for Navratri, Mataji. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you
Actually,
so much,
my
Mataji.
name is Uma Pallavi. I mean, I'm just sharing with you. My name is Uma
I
Pallavi.
know.
Uma is inspired because when I was in my mother's womb, like my uncle had a dream and Mother Parvati actually appeared and she actually said that I want something like that. So I mean, I don't know. I mean, after a long time preparing and for this particular session, reminded me of so many such things.
That's why your Guru Maharaj has named you as Ujjvala Radhe. That means, an expansion of Radharani is Uma Pallavi.
Hare Krishna. I don't know why Maharaj name, but then I'm the Dasi, the servant. Happy to be here.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Madhavi. Hare Krishna.
Much, Mataji. Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Thank you all. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you.